So I'm going to give you a choice.
What has Joe Burrow done that Goff hasn't?
Would you prefer Jared Goff or Joe Burrow, the quarterback this year's Detroit Lions?
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
Who else said that?
I did.
100 times out of 100.
Come on.
I agree
do
with
you
you on
mean,
the
come
Rams,
on?
but I disagree with you on that.
See, okay. Please,
you kidding?
Please watch tonight.
That doesn't make him a better quarterback.
You know, man, sometimes it's about the people you're with, and if Dan Campbell says you're my guy, guess what? He's his guy.
Joe Burrow would have been his guy, too.
Yo, I'm sure
I'm
there's
giving
lots
you
of guys that could have been, but there's only one guy that is.
I'm giving you the choice now, Anson.
I could have been
What's
his
the choice?
You heard the choice I just gave him. Joe Burrow or
Jared
Jared
Goff?
Goff, the quarterback this year's Detroit Lions?
In a straight-up deal?
Yes.
I mean, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is a better quarterback, but that's not to say that he's largely better than Jared Goff. And
the same dude.
No, he's not. He's definitely more athletic, and he's got a little bit of a bigger arm downfield. That being said, there's a lot in what Stick said, and that's culture, and that's your guy. And this is the guy that is loved throughout that locker room.
Yep.
He gets a ring, to your point, Maz, and you know the heavyweights and all the critics in Detroit are silenced overnight. But hey, if we're redoing this thing and I get a fantasy draft where I get to pick my quarterback and Jared Goff and Joe Burrow on the board, I, just like Stick, would choose Joe Burrow. That's not to denigrate or take anything away from my love or the fit that Jared Goff has here in Detroit, because that's our quarterback. We're not going to get a chance to trade him straight up or have a fantasy draft. So I know it upsets some people to say that, but if you can't be objective, then you're going to say Jared Goff 100 times out of 100. Being objective, Joe Burrow has more skill set, period.
Now, I'm not going to ask you this question, but I'm going to ask you and Pete.
Nothing for you, Stick.
Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford this year?
Jared Goff.
Matthew Stafford.
Oh, my God. For what?
Ricky, how about you? Jared Goff or Matthew Stafford, the quarterback, the Lions?
Jared Goff. I'm good. I'm good with
All
Matthew
right,
Stafford.
I got the reason why I would say Jared Goff. Do you remember watching Matt Stafford try and throw the ball to the flat? Do you remember watching him try and throw a ball to a running back? The guy has one velocity to his ball, and it is shotgun, period. That guy missed so many easy little screens and dumped offs to the quarterback or to the running back out of the backfield. Oh, yeah. And we have Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs. Stafford would not get the production out of those two guys through the passing game that Jared Goff has. Jared Goff has touch, and he also has a lot less years on him. So right now, this year, give me Jared Goff.
Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
You're allowed to speak, sir.
Listen, I'm so over this Stafford Goff debate, and I even kind of addressed it last night in the Netflix thing. When Stafford rolled in here with his new team, playoff caliber, Super Bowl ring, and guess what? Got his ass run out of Ford Field. And guess what? The next season, they started off first game, and what happened? Rams come into this house again. Matthew Stafford, he's good better than Jared Goff, and guess what they left with, Maz? Another L. I'm sorry, the nuance of what Jared Goff means to this organization is more. And that's what I was talking about earlier in the show. It's about, soul. It's about culture. It's about caring about the city. Stafford
You don't
never...
think the Staffords cared about the city?
I think
No,
they,
he doesn't anymore.
I said you don't think they cared about the city?
Cared, but
Listen.
you're talking about today.
Listen, I think they did a great job with philanthropy here when they were here in the city.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think you take Matthew Stafford and you put him in Philly, he does the same exact thing. You take him and you put him in New York, you put him in Florida. His team was very smart about him building for the community and being a part of it. Not saying he's a bad guy. I'm just saying never in the history of Matthew Stafford's 12 years here were people chanting his name everywhere.
Ever.
Never did he mean something to this
Well,
city.
Never ever did he win a playoff game.
No, he had 3 chances, too. He had a number 2 defense. He had the best wide receiver, arguably, to ever play this game, who had to be triple covered and would go up over 4 men to catch a jump ball. But guess who gets credit for those stats? Matthew Stafford.
You're Hall of Famer.
Exactly. You telling me if Jared Goff didn't have the arguably best wide receiver to ever play the game, who was 6'5", could jump out the gym and was getting triple covered, all he had to do was throw jump balls, he wouldn't put up better stats? Like, I'm over the Stafford Goff thing. It should have
fine.
been over the minute Stafford came to Goff's house with his new team and got his ass beat twice in a row.
Yeah, we got a couple
Should be
super
over.
chats in supporting Mr. Stick over here. How many times did Stafford beat us after the trade? 0, Michael Weary. Mike Reed, Goff over Stafford. Keep those super chats coming in. We want to hear from you.
Go ahead, Pete. You picked Matthew Stafford. I'll give you a chance.
Well, I'm just going to go with the Super Bowl ring and the Super Bowl experience and just the absolute leadership. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I mean, Stick, I get it. It's, I disagree with you on the Burrow thing, Maz, but I agree with you on the Stafford thing. I mean, I just see him as right now one step ahead of Goff. Goff is a close second. It's not like it's, I know, Stick, I see you, brother. I'm coming to you next, man.
It's just
It's a close second, dude.
But it's the people that give Stafford all this credit for a Super Bowl, right? But will knock Goff and say he's a product of the system. But yet, he's been a product of several systems that have been successful. Matthew Stafford literally had to go to a team that Jared Goff took from being the worst team in the league, put them in the Super Bowl, couple years removed, Warford gets hurt, Goff plays with an injured thumb, right? They lose the playoff game because Goff has an injured thumb. They ship him out. They bring in Matthew Stafford. But that wasn't the only move they made. They also added Von Miller. They also added Ramsey. They added Odell Beckham Jr., who was on his way to being a Super Bowl MVP. If anybody's a product of a system and a Super Bowl champion because of a system that was already built, it's Matthew Stafford. He didn't go to the Rams and push them over the top. He went to the Rams and just continued what Jared Goff was doing.
Why did Sean McVay trade him then?
That's a question you got to ask Sean McVay. I don't know.
To win a championship, but my question is this.
Okay, stop.
No. Let me ask you this.
Well, why did they sign those other guys then? If Stafford was the only move they had to make, Maz.
But if this
The other
guy,
guys were just added on.
Von
Depth
Miller
guys.
was an add-on.
Depth guys.
Odell Beckham Jr., who was going to set
Odell
the
was
Super
a-
Bowl
was an
record,
add-on. They
was
were-
an add-on. Jalen Ramsey, the number one cornerback in the league when they got him, was an add-on.
And
This is what Stafford
and what has
apologists
he
say.
done since that season?
Who, Stafford?
Yeah,
Nothing.
Exactly. So Stafford does nothing here, goes there 1 year, basically wins almost all of the playoff wins he's ever accumulated over his career in one season and hasn't done anything since. But you guys believe that he could come back to Detroit and all of a sudden be a different quarterback in Detroit and take them over the top? I don't get it. Plus, how the hell are you guys not constantly hearing his words after the playoff loss of
I know
his
that.
absolute?
We heard that.
Of course.
I was very
Stafford
angry.
hates
at
How
you.
is that?
Stafford hates you,
exactly.
guys. He
How
hates
is that going to
Detroit.
fit into this city? Like, we can't just take that out of our brains and forget it and welcome
listen,
them back and have them.
I
fit
only
in
brought it
seamlessly.
up. I only brought it up because Stick brought up that Goff and Burrow were the same guy. That's the only reason I even took
Name
this
one
to a
thing
part
to
two.
me Joe Burrow has done that Jared Goff hasn't. I'll wait.
Super Bowl berth.
Jared Goff's
Oh,
done
okay,
that.
yeah. True.
See? What do you got?
I'm thinking this.
Come on. What do you got?